Hey guys, Tony Rowe here, playing Ivan1950 in a rapid game. Wow, this guy's rating is really high. He's gonna work me over. Decided to play Alekhine's defense. I'm kind of having a good time playing this defense lately. It's pretty fun, and the one thing I like about it has the same advantage as the Scandinavian in that e4, knight f6, you're in your stuff. They can't mess around with you. They don't have a lot of choices. You get it every time. And I'm playing the Larsen variation, which is d takes e5, and notice there's the threat of queen f3 here, hitting f7 and hitting d5. I'm going to play bishop e6, and I'm going to follow up with bishop g7, knight d7, etc. The main idea of Larsen's variation is that eventually you're going to go knight d7, and you're either going to exchange off this knight, or you're going to win a tempo and force him to go knight f3. This specific variation with g6 and bishop g7 is called the Kengis, named after a Latvian grandmaster who did much to popularize this variation. I think it's solid. It's very solid. Probably. Oh, did I miss the win of a pawn there? Shoot. What happens after bishop e5? c3, bishop e5, d e5, knight c3. Okay, well, he goes queen e2, and now the chance is gone anyway, so what do we do here? I'm going to go knight d7. I've delayed c6. Normally black plays c6 quite a bit earlier in this line, and just reinforces the knight. I haven't done that thus far. I wonder if there's an upside or a downside to that. I'm wondering if I should take on e5. Somehow I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it yet. I think I'm just going to go c6. Or c5. c5, knight d7, queen d7, presumably d takes c5. That probably just loses a pawn. So I'm going to go c6. So black has a little bit less space. That's the one thing about the Kengis, and as such, I'm sort of incentivized to start exchanging pieces off. I think maybe now I'm going to chop this guy off after knight e5. Good question. I don't know. He can take with the pawn, but somehow, yeah, probably not the best move. Okay, so what do we do here? Queen d6 is pretty natural. c5 is not possible yet. Maybe queen c7 is more logical than queen d6. Maybe it doesn't much matter. That is most likely the case. You know what? I'm going to go queen c7. I like queen c7 a little bit better, perhaps, because maybe I'd like the d file clear. I don't want my queen on it. b5 is also interesting. You know what, I'm going to wait on that. That's awfully committal. So maybe now I'm just threatening c5. One interesting idea for white is to go bishop h4 to g and end maneuver to g3. That would be a good diagonal for the bishop. Another interesting idea for white here that maybe points to me wanting to go queen d6 instead of queen c7 is h4, h5. And after takes, white has knight g6, because f takes g6, queen e6 would be annoying. So now I'm going to go a5, I think. Yeah, we'll go a5. One thing about this typical structure, especially with the bishop on b3, is that I would be relatively happy to force a4, because if white ever wants to go, white clearly wants to go c4 at some point, and if white plays a4 and then goes c4, then the b4 square is carved out very neatly for my knight. Okay, so he doesn't want to do that, which is probably smart. Presumably, if I try a4, a3, a4 will be met by a3, so I'm not sure I want to do that yet. c5? c5 anything here? Takes. I mean, c5 looks pretty reasonable. c4. c5, c4, knight b4, d5. That's weird, but maybe it's not that bad for me. Take on c2. Huh. I mean, I'd be very happy to get c5 in. That's black's best chance usually to equalize out the center space. Off the top of my head, I don't see a ton wrong with it. c5, c4 is the critical line, and then knight b4 is my idea. If bishop f4 there, knight c2, knight g6 is kind of terrifying. Maybe in that case I can, so c5, c4, c5, c4, knight b4, bishop f4. Maybe I can just go queen b6 or something. You had to play Alekhine's defense, didn't you? You can't just play something normal and totally sufficient. What do I do? What do I do? So I'm thinking c5, c4. I feel like knight b4 must be played. It's the only really active move. If I just allow d5 then for nothing, then that's probably not that comfortable. It's messy. I'm taking a long time here, but this seems like a critical decision, because if c5 works, then I for sure want to play it, and if it doesn't work, then well, obviously I don't want to play it. So I apologize for the slight lull in the action here. What the heck am I doing here? Sorry, it's hard for me to sometimes talk and calculate at the same time, so I have to like completely focus and stop moving and talking to fully calculate. So c5, c4, knight b4, bishop f4, knight c2, knight g6. Making a piece of abstract art here. Ah, maybe knight d4 there. C5, c4, knight b4. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. And if queen takes c2... Maybe I can even play c takes d4 there. I'm gonna give this a shot. It's complicated. It's kind of a mess. I'm wondering if white was counting on c4, knight b4, bishop f4, or I have a long line in mind. So c4, knight b4, bishop f4, knight takes c2, and if knight takes g6, knight takes d4. And if queen takes c2, c takes d4, knight takes g6, queen takes c4. When I think black should be fine there. There's like queen takes c4, bishop takes c4, and he can take on f8, but then I'll take on f1. That's my idea. Ah, he does have rook fc1 there, though. Ah, then I can just take on g6. So c4, knight b4, bishop f4, knight c2, queen takes c2, c takes d4, knight takes g6, queen takes c4. He has knight e7 check, king h8, queen takes c4, bishop takes c4. All that for nothing. Okay, well, that's all right. I mean, do I go bishop g4? Now the question is, do I take on d4 twice? It's not uncommon for black to give up the dark squared bishop and the Kengis for a knight. So I'm wondering if just c takes c4, knight takes d4, bishop d4, c d4 is okay for me. Maybe then like rook a to c8 or something like that. Knight b4, etc. I'm going to take once at least. If he takes with the knight... The reason I don't like bishop g4 is that I think he can play just h3, by the way. Jeez. Hate giving up the two bishops, but this seems justified. Now, maybe knight b4, rook f to c8. Rook f8 looks the most natural to me. a4? Probably not. Knight b4 does come with the threat of bishop c4, though. I like that. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll try knight b4. It looks a little unnatural to me to play something like knight b4. Okay, so he doesn't want to deal with that. That's fair. pawn. Bishop b3 and then knight c2, I think. And then knight d4. Yeah, let's go for that. Oh, he has rook a4. Whoops. Well, that's kind of a stupid square. That seems, yeah, that seems fine to allow. Let's go rook fd8. Oh my god, I just hung a knight. No, I didn't. Okay. Rook c4, knight d4. Holy jeez. See, that's chess actually, you know, like, and that's really the story of my chess career. I like playing these natural positional moves that sort of on autopilot, and then, you know, you run into some freaking tactic. Like, wow, that was terrifying. I think I wet myself a little bit there for a second. God. Okay, maybe I should just get this knight the hell out of here. If he plays bishop e3, I'm just playing knight b4 or something. Just getting it out and not having to worry about it. Whew. That was close. Of course, I'm behind on time. My opponent's playing very fast, using less than 5 minutes for the first 20 moves. But I think he's paid for that. His position is slightly worse. So this feels pretty good. I've never played a 2450 and a Russian 2450 at that. Geez, look at my score against this guy. I wonder when I played him. Probably all bullet games. Nope. 3+2. Can you? I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, a little bit. 3+2. So this guy's just wrecked me at 3+2 games, like unbelievably bad. his blitz ratings are lower though, and he still scores like a total boss against me. All right. So rook c4 is a definite threat. Oh, I can play knight takes d4 here maybe. Knight d4, rook d4, queen c1. Or of course knight d4, rook d4, rook d4, rook d4, queen c1. Interesting. So can I do that? I don't want to get caught again playing like an idiot. I think so. So we'll go for that. I like pawns. And the one thing that's really nice about my position is just unbelievably solid. Like, I'm up a pawn, and my opponent's pawn structure is worse. I have no real weaknesses. Like, a5 is a little bit loose. You can maybe my queen side's slightly weaker than I would like it to be, but all things considered, that's the one really nice thing I like about the Kengis, is just your pawn structure is very compact. It has that Scandinavian kind of feel to it. You notice that with d takes e5, knight takes e5, you essentially get a Scandinavian structure. You trade your e-pawn for the his e-pawn for your d-pawn. Just a little bit different. So rook d4, rook d4, rook d4, queen c1. Presumably he's going to play rook c1. And I'm going to play queen c5. I think that's the most active. There's no like fancy business, right? I could play rook c8. I kind of actually like rook c8. Is there anything wrong with rook c8? The point is that I'm going to play rook c2, and that would be extremely uncomfortable for white. And this pin, like, essentially, like, sort of pins him down a little bit. If rook e1, I can kind of sort of still play rook c2. If rook takes c1, queen f1, that has to be good for me. All right, I don't want to think about this too long. I'm just going to play rook c8. Maybe this is slightly more accurate than just retreating my queen. It is a little risky though. Like if I this is the type of move where probably it doesn't change the actual like evaluation of the position that much, but if I miscalculate even slightly, then I make a real ass out of myself. So all right, so he's just moving the lady, which is very reasonable. Now I could play rook c2. I kind of want to. Rook c2, queen f3, queen takes b2 is my idea. Rook d8 check. He doesn't really have anything after that because my queen on b2 is a beast. Alright, I'm going to play rook c2. Unexpected complications in an otherwise relatively dry position. Of course, I only have a minute. And my opponent is counting on it because his position is kind of stinky. Hope you guys have had a good week so far. I worked and then worked out. Okay, that's interesting. And now I'm hoping for I'm having a nice relaxing Friday, presumably. I'm working from home. And Daredevil comes out tonight, Season 2. If you guys are into that, you have Netflix. I thought Daredevil Season 1 was one of the best things Netflix has done so far, so I'm pretty pumped for Season 2. And I'm batching it this weekend. I'm not going to visit the fiance, so probably a weekend of mostly chess debauchery. Maybe I can get some more recordings done. Hopefully I can. Cooking myself a nice meal. I just bought some andouille. If you guys are not familiar with andouille, it's like a... It might have originally been Spanish. Andouille is not like a native Italian word, but it's like very much a specialty of southern Italy. When my fiance and I went to Calabria, we had andouille. This is wild. What is his threat? So if rook f2, queen e8 here. Problem is I'm like threatening to mate him. If rook f2, rook d8 check here, queen f8. I mean, it looks terrifying. I don't have any time. Rook f2, rook d8, queen f8 is the only check. King f6. Wow, this is absolutely scary. I don't feel as though I should allow this. Oh, God. All right, I'm going to play rook d2. It's a little bit safe. This does allow rook takes d2, rook takes d2, or queen takes d2 rather, like queen e8 check, and king g7, queen e5 check, which is sort of irritating. If I want to play on, I can play king h6 though, because my queen is on this diagonal and doesn't have any more checks. But it's annoying. He can take on d2, and then play queen takes b7 as well. But I suppose in that case I can play queen e1 check, take on f2. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of heavily incentivized to just play a safe move here. If he plays something like rook f1, I might just go rook c2, and I'm sort of pseudo threatening rook c1, just simplifying the position, and if he goes rook d1 again, I'll play rook d2. I'm up a pawn, but my king is a little weak, and I only have 13 seconds. I wouldn't be that sad with a draw. Please play queen d8. Even if it's a mouse slip. Do it. So okay, so he's doing that. I'm going to check and then take on f2. So I'm still up a pawn. It's But my a-pawn is a little bit weak. I might take a draw here. It's going to be hard for... Oh, he can just take this. Ugh, that's annoying. Yeah, I'm going to play this check and probably go for some kind of a draw. He's got an outside passer now, which is not all that pleasant. Okay, so a relatively hard-fought draw, 36 moves. Tough one. I mean, I feel like I was better at some point. I feel like after c5 I was probably equal, maybe pushing. I wouldn't be surprised if... Oh, I have the computer on. I was about to say I wouldn't be surprised if computers thought I was slightly better. But this is like kind of a relatively calm position, and even if I'm slightly better, maybe I'm not posing white that many problems. So let's take a quick look at this. I'm curious. I think c6 is actually more popular. After I played bishop e6, I remember that c6 was more popular. But I'm not actually certain that bishop e6 is any different. I mean, like c6, castles, bishop g7, I think rook e1 is the main line, or knight d2. And then after castles, knight d2, bishop b3. But yeah, I mean, black is playing bishop e6 anyway. And knight d2, knight d7, like knight d to f3. Oh. Okay. Shoot. Oh, there we go. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I lost the variation because I hit computer analysis. I was trying to determine if c6 or bishop e6 it really made any difference. I'm not sure that it does. So I played bishop e6, but I knew right after I played it, I remembered that c6 was more normal, but I'm not certain that it actually matters much. Bishop e6, knight d2, knight d7. So this position is like extremely similar to the one we got in the game, except white had c3 in. And yeah, normally black flicks in a5. I'm not sure if there's a real downside to doing so. One reason why you might not want to flick in a5 is if b5 ended up being really weak, but with the pawn on c6 and with, you know, no knight on the queen side or to sort of exploit this square, then it feels to me like it's fine. Yeah, like I said, the other idea in this position a lot is knight c7, trying to exchange off the light squared bishops. Normally with two minor pieces instead of four, white's minor space advantage doesn't really put all that much pressure on black. It's not all that concerning. So that's one idea. There are some games here that would be worth looking at. Yeah, top games, not surprising. You see a couple of old Kengis games. Well worth checking out if you take up the Alekhine's defense, which probably none of my viewers will, but I think it's an interesting line. It's one of the things I actually want to work on a chessable repertoire for, because I think it's relatively compact and it's something that maybe someone else wouldn't do. But I haven't yet found a line I really like against the four pawns attack, so that might have to wait until I can do a little bit more research. But yeah, this is very similar to the game. I wonder after bishop e6, does white have anything really serious? I do notice that bishop b3 scores extremely well here. At bishop g7, I would imagine the point is like a very quick c4. If c4 now, presumably knight b6 is not that great because this knight is a little bit loose. Like d5 is not really a threat yet because I can play bishop takes d5 or something and then bishop takes e5. Okay, well, presumably we're going to transpose to something that, or not. No. Okay, we're back. Yeah. This position is probably in a database, I'm guessing. This looks like a relatively standard, position for both sides. And queen c7 is the most played move. I was sort of intrigued by this as well, though. The one nice thing about this is, as I said, this protects the bishop. The one downside, I think, is that after queen c7, black still has some opportunities to switch over to different squares. And after queen d6, that's not really the case because all of white's pawns control these kind of squares. And, I thought maybe at some point like rook a d1 would be annoying with a queen on d6, but I'm not sure it really makes much of a difference. One idea for white I wanted to check was h4. I guess c5 is... I'm timely enough with my counterplay in the center that maybe I don't have to worry about this. Like c5, h5, presumably I can just take, and... Yeah, there might even be some tricks based on this knight on c4, like takes, like knight f4, or some garbage like this, where I'm just simplifying down to something that's like clearly totally equal. I mean, rook fc1, rook a to c8, and black is totally fine. Yeah, I know in some positions, I've seen in maybe a correspondence game or two that the plan with h4 is unexplored, but kind of troublesome for black, because h5, h takes g6, h takes g6, knight takes g6 is a rather irritating threat. And black's king, I think, feels the breeze a little bit more than white's once these h-pawns are exchanged. Like, black has minor problems along this diagonal and with this hook on g6, so... Interesting idea. It doesn't seem to work out that great here, though. And I think... Yeah, I think after bishop c2, c5, black is just totally equal. The only thing I was worried about... Let's see if these lines that I was calculating hold up, actually. The critical move would be c4, because then, after knight b4, white can try and eliminate black's option to sort of trade off his c-pawn for the d-pawn and grab as much space as possible, but... Oh, wow, did I totally missed this. Well, was this the position I was thinking about? If so, I'm really embarrassed, because this just wins a piece. What an idiot. Knight b4. I was looking at this, because knight g6 is an irritating threat, and then I thought knight takes c2. Because if knight takes g6, knight d4, I saw, and then I'm threatening the queen with check. And I think this should be fine for me. I can just move my queen, and if he takes on f8, I'm cool with that. I'll play this position in exchange down. I think my two bishops are very strong, and this knight on d4 is really well placed, and white has some problems with his queen side, I think, so... And the other line I looked at was just queen c2, c takes d4, knight takes g6, queen takes c4. And if queen takes c4 here, rook fc1, then I can just take. But apparently I have better. Oh, f takes, and then I hit the bishop. That's hilarious. Yeah, I didn't see that. But yeah, white can flick in this move, and then probably this is just around equal, I'm guessing. Something like this. Yeah, I mean, I like the d-pawn. That's nice. And I like the two bishops, so maybe I'm slightly better, but... So c4, knight b4 seems to hold up. I'm an idiot and I missed this, but but other than that, other than the fact that I can't calculate for the life of me, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sometimes in chess you make the right decisions for the wrong reasons. Like, it's just like, okay, I thought c4, knight b4 was good, and indeed it's good, but everything after this, I wasted like 5 minutes of my time calculating all of these complicated lines after knight c2, and then just... the knight was hanging. That's kind of funny. Idiot. And then, yeah, another critical decision here is whether or not I want to take this knight. It felt to me like it was the right decision, and a lot of times in the Kengis, there are some positions where bishop takes e5 is correct. So, like, I wasn't necessarily reticent to give up the dark squared bishop here. It's just a matter of whether or not it's the best move. I really like the two bishops. I didn't want to necessarily give it up. But none of the retreat squares, I'm certainly not going to allow this, so none of the retreat squares, like bishop d7 seemed kind of passive. And the bishop is kind of just in the way, and my coordination isn't that good anymore. You know, something, yeah, it just doesn't, it didn't feel right to me, so this felt a little bit more logical. And then I thought rook fc8, but maybe white can just move the bishop. Like, probably bishop e4 is the best square. And I don't really have a threat yet. But knight b4, bishop e4, bishop c4 is winning for black because I'm just winning an exchange here. Presumably white was played bishop b3 and was worried about me taking on a2, I'm guessing. Like bishop d3, like bishop takes a2, I think, was probably what I was going to play. Just nom-nomming on that pawn. That seems good. But this also seemed really good for black. I mean, am I not just winning this pawn? I almost screwed this up. I got really lucky here, actually, because I saw rook c4 right after I played rook fd8, but rook c4. Did I just lose connection or something? What just happened there? Oh yeah, rook c4. Something is like lagging out on my computer or something. Anyway, yeah. This seemed fine. So I got a little lucky here, and then I got even luckier because I mean, I didn't see this tactic ahead of time, but I did have this nice tactic. Yeah, and then rook c8. This move was kind of cool. A little bit more precise, I think, than, let's say, like queen c5, which is what I was going to play. Queen c5 seems fine, but it's a little bit more active to keep my queen on c1 and attack the b2 pawn. Uh-oh. I'm losing lead chess here. I wonder if lead chess is down. Oh, it's back. Some weird stuff is happening. Getting the reconnecting symbol. And then rook c8. Yeah, this is not good. Lead chess is crashing, I think. But good thing is we can finish the analysis, I think. As long as I don't try to refresh. h3, rook c2, queen e1, queen takes b2, queen takes e7. All of these moves seem obvious. Yeah, and then I think I'm actually in some trouble if I do this. I was looking at rook f2. Ah, see, I can't move the pieces when it's reconnecting. This is rough. Ay, ay, ay. Is it going to come back? Please, let me finish the analysis. I just want to see what happens after rook f2. I think I'm in trouble, but I can't tell. It's killing me. All right, so we'll do this, you know, like real chess players. I'm going to turn this thing off. And rook f2, rook d8, king g7, queen f8, queen f6. Queen h8 is possible. I'm not sure it's the best move, though. Rook d6 is possible. Rook d6, king g5 looks forced. Whoa there. What just happened? And we're back, presumably. So rook f2. Dang it. Yeah, lead chess is like crashing. Okay, well, geez, I don't know if I want to wait. See if this fixes itself. Yeah, let's mostly call it there. Presumably I had something after queen e7 that I missed that was not rook d2. It seems like after this, the game is just simply drawn. So I'd actually probably rather be white here, all things considered, because of this outside passer, but white's king is too weak to actually make any progress, so I was able to force a draw. Yeah, interesting game, tough opponent. Cool opening, I think. The one thing I like about this opening is like very thematic play, like take on e5, you know, this kind of stuff I was all familiar with. Challenge the knight, play c6. At some point, it's, you know, usual that black wants to exchange, and then, yeah, just all of these moves are moves are things I've seen in in like Larsen and Kengis games, and I was just sort of copying them. So it wasn't all that tough to play. And then I knew that the c5 break was the critical try. So okay, literally Lichess is out to get me. It refreshes, and literally every time I try to go back and analyze rook f2, it bombs out on me. So let's call it there, actually. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked it. I will be back probably tomorrow with 1 or 2 more videos, since I'm working from home and it's Friday. Yahoo. And probably over the weekend I'm going to start some kind of new instructional content. I'm trying to think of what I want to do. I have a couple ideas, but I'm waiting for something to like really jump out at me and to kind of inspire me. So let me know if there's something in the comments that you guys would like to see, and we'll see if this video follows the same trend as my last Alekhine's defense video, which I think has the least views out of all of the videos on my channel. So we'll see. Yeah, that's it. Have a good Friday, guys, and see you guys later.